KC, how are you?
Good.
Very good. So February 15, 1989. Afghanistan experiences one of the greatest refugee movements in its history. 6 million people grabbed clothes, photographs, loved ones. They fled across mountains, across all bodies of water. We often focus on this massive migration, and we forget to ask an even more important question. What did these Cold War Afghans leave behind? The irretrievables, friendships, reputations, neighbors, streets they've walked on their entire lives. And what is more telling, the things one leaves behind, or the ones he carries within himself, in that place where no man can reach? Shame, fear, hopelessness, regret. These intangibles they carried within and passed down to each and every one of us. So what's the point of this diatribe, this counting of our inherited post-war psychologies? It is to identify something, a problem, that many of us humans face, and even more so as Afghans: collective negativity. Someone buys a new business. That restaurant isn't going to make a profit. Nobody eats Afghan food. Your cousin gets into UCLA. Good luck paying off her student loans. A young couple gets engaged. We'll see how long that will last. They were dating for years anyway. Your aunt buys a new house. Location is terrible. Did you see that backyard? How could you fit any kind of money in there? Your younger brother takes an interest in Afghanistan, speaks to his elders, and what do they say? Afghanistan will never be okay. Afghans are too selfish, too individualistic. They only care about themselves. The people will never unite, and the war will never end. These are the things we've heard, and unfortunately, for some of us, maybe even the things we've said. What we don't realize is that this collective negativity is not an inherent part of being Afghan. It is something that we have failed to identify as luggage that has been carried by our parents and passed down to each and every one of us. It is up to us to change this narrative, this negativity, and the first step is to practice gratitude. So what is gratitude? When we consciously count our blessings, we avoid the pitfalls of unintentionally counting negative things. When we count what we have, we are protected from inflating what we don't have. Every religion in the world, from Christianity to Buddhism to Islam, emphasizes the power of gratitude. Our prophet, peace be upon him, has stated, "Gratitude for the abundance you have received is the greatest insurance that that abundance will continue." And for my spiritualists in the room, Buddha always emphasizes, you have no cause in this world for anything but gratitude and joy. And for my philosophers, Voltaire, appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what is excellent in others belong to us as well. Or for my personal hero, Marcus Aurelius, who warns, take full account of the excellencies you possess. And in gratitude, remember how you would hanker after them if you had them not. And for my scientists, Ibn Sina, Albert Einstein, Sir Isaac Newton, some of the greatest scientific discoverers in history, practiced gratitude every day of their lives. When Newton was asked how he revolutionized the sciences, you know how he responded? He stated that he stood on the shoulders of giants. Gratitude is a feeling. As Newton's law has established, what you give, you receive equally. The more you increase feelings of gratitude, the more your life expands to this feeling. Gratitude not only takes root in ancient history, religion, philosophy, but its reach has now extended to the sciences, neuroscience specifically. So let's talk about what happens to your brain when you practice gratitude. And what is this brain? Actually, before that, the most interesting part of this exercise is that as I explain to you what your brain is doing, your brain is the organ which is listening to me and trying to understand itself. Talk about gratitude. So what is this brain about? It weighs about 3 pounds. It looks like like somebody chewed on a bunch of gum and wrapped it around in circles. And yet, in those 3 pounds, 1.1 trillion cells exist, 100 billion of which are neurons. And when you put one neural cell next to another, there's a gap within which these cells communicate. That is called a synapse. Our brain contains 500 trillion synapses. If a neuron feels like sending a message, it sends a chemical across a neural highway called the neurotransmitter. The little neurochemical then flies down, and the second cell picks up that chemical. Then that information determines whether it will fire or not fire. At those 500 trillion synapses, neurons are continually signaling to each other. They're like air traffic controllers, telling each other what direction they should go to prevent all the planes from flying down at the same time. So what's the point of this neural movement? Why do we care? We care because neurons that fire together wire together. When you stimulate neural highways, where one cell is signaling to another cell, you strengthen that neural highway over others over time. If you send positive thoughts, they have a certain chemical makeup. They shoot in a particular direction, and the more they shoot in a positive way, the more likely that neural highway will be used over others. So what do? The more we practice gratitude, the more we push away from negativity. The negative highways that our past selves and our parents used, well, they become abandoned. And our brain shifts into a type of pruning mode and gets rid of our negative and unused neural substrates. So now you're probably thinking, okay, Layla, we get it. We kind of get the biology, that there are these little signals being thrown to a signal controller, the mind controls the brain, etc., etc. But what do we do now? How do we control our mind in a way to control our brain? My answer to you is to practice gratitude. Our religions and our spiritual guides have long theorized what neuroscience is only beginning to explain. The answer is simple. You wake up every morning, you write down 10 things you're grateful for and why. You remind your brain at every instance of jealousy, depression, loneliness, hopelessness, and shame of all that you have, of all that you can be grateful for. When a person says something about their accomplishments and you feel some type of kambudi, a lacking, an inferiority, you take a moment to help count your blessings and your accomplishments in spite of which you think you do not have. You send the positive signals in that positive direction before any negative thoughts can speed down their neural highways. You feel you have nothing to be thankful for. Take a moment to look at your surroundings, to thank God, the universe, whomever it may be, for the eyes you have with which to see, for the legs you have with which to walk, for the mother you have with which to fight. If you turn these types of negative inherited genes and sadnesses on their heads, you can help your mind show your brain that that restaurant your neighbor bought can actually turn a profit. And it starts by you buying lunch there. That cousin of yours who got into UCLA, well, you can help her with her debt. And that starts by helping her with financial aid, scholarships. That house your aunt bought in that terrible location, well, now it's filled with grandchildren. And their laughter rings through that small backyard. And that young couple who were too young to get engaged, well, they were your parents. And they couldn't be happier to be together. That Afghanistan that they said had no hope. Those Afghans, they said, who were too individualistic, too selfish. They only cared about themselves. Well, they're sitting in front of you right now. 400 of them, coming together to not only make Afghanistan a better place, but to make the world a better place. So the next time you feel that tinge of shame, guilt, hopelessness, jealousy, remember to practice gratitude, because neurons that fire together, wire together.